Can you share a defining moment from your service that shaped your view of leadership?
I had the unique pleasure of being in a casualty evacuation squadron for three tours in Iraq and some support activities that we transferred to Afghanistan as well. But the one of those, going back to weather and incidents, things you don't have control over. And I'll give a particular shout out to one of my great mentors, Mark Schrecker, who was our squadron commander at the time. And I remember sitting in the ready room, and we were flying 14 and a half hours a day, 3 or 4 missions a day. Probably the most grueling work physically I've done in almost my entire lifetime. It was, you barely had enough time to sleep, let alone, eat. And you were in the airplane. It's 125 to 135 degrees outside. And you're in these airplanes where the temperature just goes up. You're just sweating through your flight suits. And you're responding to emergency phone calls. So it's sitting in an ambulance that's overstressed, over hot, and it's old. And then you have to go to some place in the middle of the air, figure out where to land. And I could go on and on about those individual moments, whether it be landing in a minefield, landing in the middle of a dust storm to pick up a dog that ate some C4, these tactical events you just couldn't even make up, right? These are stories that, you look back on it and you just wonder, like, that was not in a textbook. But I remember sitting in a ready room, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I look over at Matt Schultz, one of our, my Dash 2 pilot, and the phone rang, and it's the BAT phone, tells us to launch. And so I sent the co-pilots to go prep the airplane, and they're all set up. And I'm waiting for the final grid coordinates and that tactical information to come in to let me know where to go and who to talk to. And just so happened that our squadron CEO, Mark Schrecker, was on that same flight schedule. And he wouldn't even know that, right? I was the Dash 1 flight lead. He was the next mission. So we kind of stacked it based off response. So I had this phone call. This was my call. And he just sat in the back. And first thing we ask is, where's it at? What's the frequency? And then I go, what's the weather? And what's the ceilings? And weather comes in, its visibility is 100 feet ceilings and up to 500 feet horizontal visibility, which is, no sane person is going to really push that envelope. If I were to, and by the way, you're doing 150 to 200 knots, 200 miles an hour through the air at approximately 200 feet. So we were going to be in the clouds, flying close to terrain in the middle of an urban environment, with another airplane that weighs 25,000 pounds flying behind you, right? And we have to land at a place to pick one person up and bring them home. And they're injured to the point of an emergency. So life or limb within the next hour type deal. And I remember sitting that experience, and then I looked back at my squadron commander, the lieutenant colonel at the time, and he goes, "It's your call." And it's like, we're going to hold. And that was a hard call. That was a really hard call. He never second guessed me. No judgment. Right. And, if I had to make that call 10 more times, I'd like to say it would be the same, but it really depends on who's in the room. And so that leadership, just through tacit, faithful commitment to your people, was enough for me. Like the next day, and I tell you, for the next 6 months after that, there was no one I would be more willing to, put my full effort, all of my effort into that mission than Mark Schrecker.